Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about the Scribe connector for Datafinder, connecting your data through Scribe to datafinder.com and our APIs. We will be appending phone numbers and some demographic information based off of an email address and first name, last name found in our salesforce.com contacts. So here you can see we have our Salesforce connector and our Datafinder Data API Services connector. When creating a new one of those, you simply need to select the Datafinder API Services, enter your name, and then provide the API key that is given to you on datafinder.com. Then, of course, you need to test the connection and click OK. So now that we have our two connectors to Datafinder and Salesforce, I will then need to create a solution, which we did ahead of time for this demo. And what the solution is going to do is going to look up your contacts in Salesforce and append phone numbers and estimated household income, which is demographic information from our ZIP+4 data. So let's dive right into the solution. We'll go right to the map. So we've already created an advanced mapping, and we're going to grab the phone numbers and ZIP+4 data. Okay, so here we already have our completed solution. So we're just going to walk through it step by step. So for our source connection, we're using the Salesforce connector, Salesforce contacts, and we grab the query to drag it over here because we're going to be querying the contacts. So let's take a look inside here. As you can see, we've selected the contacts entity. So that's all we really need to do there. We're not going to be adding any filters because we just want to look up all of the contacts in Salesforce. Then we went ahead and grabbed a control for each result. We're going to drag that over here. And we rename it for each contact, just to make it more clear as what we're doing here. Now we're going to say for each contact, we want to look up phone numbers from Datafinder. So we went over to the target connections, selected the Datafinder API connector, and we're going to perform a lookup. And as you can see, we're performing a lookup on the phone entity, so let's drill into that. So Datafinder has a number of entities that you can grab: individual or household information with demographic information, emails, contact information with the email entity, phone numbers and contact information with a phone entity, and more demographics based on the zip and ZIP+4, and demographics based on just the zip code. So we want to grab the phone number. So we're going to grab phone entity. So now we need to look up the individuals in the contacts. So what we selected here was email address, first name, and last name to base the API queries off of. That should give us a strong individual match. So as you can see, for the source, we selected the email address. And we did the same thing for first and last name. So it's going to be passing in email, first, and last name to the Datafinder connector as the filter criteria. And here are the fields that the phone entity will return. So you can see there's address. It does return email address also, name, and there's phone number. What we're going to also do is grab some of the ZIP+4 demographics to append to the contact records also. Our contacts records in Salesforce don't have zip plus 4. We need to grab the zip and zip plus 4 that the phone entity returns and use those for our lookups. So we went ahead and selected those. So now we're going to get the phone numbers and zip plus 4 back. So now we need to do a second lookup into zip plus 4 for the demographics. So we went ahead and selected another lookup. We're going to drill down into it by double clicking. As you can see, we've selected zip plus 4 entity. We're going to filter by zip 4 and zip 5. That's the lookup criteria. Same thing we selected from the last operation. It's the phone entity lookup. As you can see, here's the zip plus 4 that we selected. And we did the same thing for the zip. And here's all the list of all the fields that can be returned. Health insurance, household income, ages, ethnicity, population growth, and so on. There's a lot. At the very top, you can see that we selected average household income. That's what we're going to be adding to our Salesforce contact records. So go ahead and grab that. And then finally, we're going to select the target of Salesforce contacts. We want to update those original records, so we're going to drag that over here. And we selected the contact entity. We're going to use the same matching criteria that we originally did. Contact was the email, first and last names. The fields we want to update are the phone numbers and average household income. So we want to look at the results of the phone entity lookup. The phone has been mapped to Salesforce contact phone. It's set up as mobile phone, but we're going to go ahead and use that. We then grabbed the average household income and we mapped it to a custom field in Salesforce that we created called average household income. If we go over to salesforce.com, we can show you. You can see it here. It's very easy to create custom fields, and we created the average household income field. So there it is. Looks like the mapping is all complete here. I'm making an on-demand connector. Yeah, we could schedule it, but we'd rather just go ahead and do it on demand for this demo. Here's a finished connector that will append phone numbers and estimated household income through Datafinder, phone and zip plus 4 entities, back into Salesforce. Now if we run this connector, we look at the results. We look at the results of one of our contacts in Salesforce, and here it is. Here's the first contact. You can see that it's appended a phone number and the average household income, which was the custom field we created. And there you have it, a Datafinder API connector for Scribe.